The only button that I know is the one that says self-destruct.
Off.
That's the button I think that I clicked.
No,
Yeah.
just he's got it rocking again.
Is it up or not?
Yeah, your mics are on. They can hear us.
Good.
First of all, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Winter City Council meeting for Monday, April 3rd, 2023. At this time, the City of Winter will implement roll call.
Councilman Burns.
Here.
Councilman Clay.
Here.
Councilman Hockett.
Here.
Councilman Klund.
Here.
Councilman Schramm.
Here.
Councilman Sprinkle.
Here. At this time, if you'd all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Council, having had time to review your packets, are there any conflict of interests? Seeing and hearing none, this time the City of Winter will move on to the consent agenda. Council, having had time to review your packets, is there a motion on the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Schramm?
the minutes of March 27 are not accurate. I would suggest we move them to the regular session.
Okay. Item number 1, which will be the meeting minutes from March 20th and March 27th, will be pulled from the consent agenda and added to new business, item number 6. Making that change, is there a motion on the consent agenda? Is there a motion?
It's blank.
Is-
I'm not
is
gonna
there
make a
fill-in
motion.
of the
It's-
blank?
I don't know what I'm motioning for.
It's the resignation, it's the consent agenda. After the motion, she'll let you know who it is. Or you can ask to move it to new business.
Yeah, let's move it to new business.
All right.
I'm sorry, I just have a problem motion for something. I don't know what it is.
And then fill in a blank after we
I'm sorry.
vote for it.
So item number 2 under the consent agenda has been moved to new business, item number 7. Therefore, there is no consent agenda for the night. I move those with, yep, yep. So, moving on. Council, having had time to review your packets, is there a motion on tonight's agenda adding item number 6 and 7 from the consent agenda to new business?
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
Councilman Clay has made a motion to approve the agenda. That motion is seconded by Councilman Hockett. Floor is open to comments or questions, council. Hearing none, Chair will call the question. All in favor of approving the agenda as presented with the additions of items 6 and 7 from consent agenda, would you please say aye?
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it. This motion will carry unanimously 6-0. City of Winter now moves on to recognition of visitors and public communications. First tonight, we always do public input with every city council meeting, allowing anybody to address the city council. Is there any public input at this time? Hearing and seeing none at this time, we'll move on to our first communication. Item number 2. Chair recognizes Chandra Phillips.
For both March 22nd and March 29th, fuel bids were awarded to Volun Oil for number 2 diesel, number 1 diesel, 50/50, regular unleaded, and fuel oil. For both March 22nd and March 29th, propane was awarded to CHS.
Item number 3 tonight is a public communication from the City of Winter. Chair again will turn the mic over to our Finance Officer, Chandra Phillips.
You have a sheet in front of you. There is one item that does need to be struck from this sheet, but for the minutes, for the purposes of the minutes and the state statute, I will read off names and their starting wage. Every name that I read off is a part-time employee with no benefits. Carly Brozick at $15.48 an hour. Caleb Borner, $15.48 an hour. Clay Sell, $14.98 an hour. Kendall Dice, $14.98 an hour. Trista Kiersted, $14.98 an hour. Ethan Cudmore, $14.98 an hour. Melanie Brozick, $15.48 an hour. Brindy Bolander, $15.48 per hour. Jim Padmore, $16.20 per hour. William Boner, $15.48 per hour. Matt Hagan, $15.48 per hour. All of those are in the Parks Department. Under the Pool Department, you'll have Catherine Jankowskis as your manager at $16.99 per hour. Carolyn Yost as your assistant manager, $16.49 per hour. Ellie Brozick, $13.40 per hour. Riley Root, $13.40 per hour. Cora Moss, $13.40. Tessa Sy, $13.40. Daisy McIntyre, $13.40. Presley Petersek, $13.40. Lillian Barfus, $13.40. Keely Kyle, $13.40. Gracie Root, $13.40. And Kelby Miners, $13.40. Under police, you have a part-time employee, Mitchell Miller. And I apologize, there is not a wage listed for Mitchell Miller. I will get that information out to the public as well. It'd be at starting wage. Same with the jail, there are 3 part-times, Maisie Shlovick, Mariah Koenig, and Haley Hansen, all at starting wage.
It doesn't matter, just a pronunciation, but it would be a Tessa C.
Oh, I
That's how it's
apologize.
pronounced.
Thank you. And it's not under new hires, but just for public's information, there is a resignation from Ashley Bowling in the City Hall Department.
The City of Winter will now move on to our recognized guest tonight, Coach Jamie Keiser for the Winter Summer Rec Program. Not Kaiser, Keiser. How many times have you heard that?
Quite a few. For summer rec, we're asking for the volleyball would like to do it again. We're asking for a donation of $3,000, again, like we have in the past. I think the program is a great program. Our numbers have gone up quite a bit since COVID, it seems like. They kind of went down a little bit, but came up quite a bit since COVID. And I think it really helps parents that have those older kids that are in school, but not really especially want to send them to daycare and things like that. So the volleyball program plans to run it again. It'll be like the same as it was in the past, Monday through Friday. McDonald's Park, we go 9 to noon. We plan on starting June 5th, going through July 14th, and kind of doing the same things that we have done in the past. We have 2 groups. We have kind of an older group and then kind of a younger group. And the volleyball girls come. Usually we have at least 4 girls there every time, and then I am there, and if I can't, then it's always an adult there. And then I do the games, pick up all the games out for them and stuff. And then the girls help them and play with them. And then usually I do too, or we'll ref or things like that. Something that we did new last year that I think was really good, and I plan on doing it again this year and buying some more things. But I bought some board games last year. So especially like when it gets really hot out, those younger kids don't like to play a whole lot. So last year we went underneath on the picnic benches and actually the girls played board games with them, and they all played different kind of board games. So I thought that was good, especially for those younger ones. They get hot and their attention span is a lot less than the older ones. So you have to keep them entertained a lot more. So I thought that was really good. We bought quite a bit new equipment, so we had a lot of new games last year. We'll have to buy some more equipment this year. The money that the volleyball fund uses it for is mostly camps that we go to in the summertime. This year, we plan on going to 4 camps, which the girls all attend. Then it's also used for quite a bit of other stuff, especially long bus rides. A lot of times we'll get subs or things like that, so then we don't have to stop and eat. So those are 2 of the main things that we use the money for. But of course, then it can go for all over sorts of things for the volleyball girls. So that's what we're asking to run it again this year. Any questions?
You don't travel that far, do you?
Never.
What kind of numbers did you have last year, Jamie?
I think there was a total of about like 85 kids signed up. And then, of course, the days, of course, matter, you know. Usually June, there's quite a bit. They come, you know, then July, they kind of start taking vacations and get into more things like that. But I think we had about 85 kids sign up last year.
It's a good program.
Yep.
Council, at this time, I'll move to suspend the rules, and we'll move to new item, or new business, item number 1. Is there a motion on item number 1?
I'll make a motion to approve the donation request of $3,000 to the summer rec program.
Is there a second to this motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll second that.
Councilman Clunt has made a motion to approve a donation request of $3,000 to the summer rec program. That motion has been seconded by Councilman Burns. The floor is open for any further comment or question, council. Hearing none, Chair will call the question. All those in favor of approving this donation of $3,000 to the summer rec program, would you please say aye?
Mr. Mayor, I believe that's a roll call vote.
Oh, this is a roll call. Thank you very much. I was ready to roll. Councilman Clunt.
Yes.
Councilman Hockett.
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle.
Yes.
Councilman Burns.
Yes.
Councilman Clay.
Yes.
Councilman Schramm.
Aye.
The ayes have it, and this motion passes unanimously 6-0.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Yep, thank you, Jamie, once again, good job.
Chair will move to suspend the rules and return to department reports. At this point, this meeting, there are no department reports for the city of Winter. There are no bid openings. There are no public hearings. No Board of Adjustments. No old business. We'll move to new business. There are 6 items remaining for consideration under new business. Council, item number 2, is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd make a motion to approve addendum number 1 of the purchase agreement with Tripp County.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Clay has made a motion to approve the addendum number 1 to the purchase agreement with Tripp County. That motion has been seconded by Councilman Schramm. Floor is open to comments or questions. At this time, prior to those, I'll turn the chair, I would recognize the city attorney, Mr. Jensen, for an explanation to the public.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For council and for the public, after the parties entered in an agreement for the city to purchase the center from Tripp County for the recycling center to be used not only for recycling, but eventually for a transfer station. There was some discussion had because of the fact that the city was applying for a grant to help acquire the property and some of the other things that go along with the program. And that grant application needed to result in us not actually taking title to the property prior to the awarding of the grant. So we went back and discussed with with the county commissioners last week, and the parties negotiated and agreed, as appears in this first addendum that has been presented to you here tonight. I would say the initial draft was included with your packet over the weekend. I made one minor change today, and so that's the loose document that was handed out tonight. What it boils down to is that the closing of the sale is now postponed until after the grant and sometime prior to August 1, at which time we will take possession under ownership. However, between now and then, we are in the possession of the property under a lease that's spelled out here in this provision. We're paying $3,000 per month for this lease during the period of time that we need to postpone the actual ownership. We use the property for recycling. We maintain the recycling program, and we prepare to use it as a transfer station as well. The other part of the thing that changed over the weekend, and it was my forgetting to include in here on letter number D, the parties agreed that all of the recycled material that was in stock prior to April 1 continues to belong to the county. And what comes in after April 1 belongs then to the city of Winter. So that needed to be spelled out because there was a substantial amount of recycled, especially tin cans and things like that, that needed to be declared for ownership. That's really the sum and substance of what this is all about. And so we are asking that the council would approve the mayor to sign on behalf of the city tonight, and then we expect that the county commission would join in doing this next Tuesday, a week from tomorrow.
County representative has seen this and signed up.
Yes, thank you. I did share it with the state's attorney. He reviewed it. He's also disseminated it to all of the commissioners. And it was one of the commissioners that raised the fact that I had failed to include the part about ownership of the material. So they've all reviewed it, and I think everybody understands that they'll be on board to agree to it next week.
And there goes a $25,000 windfall to the city. Out the window. But it really worked out.
So,
That's the way it goes.
Councilman Clay.
Mr. Jensen, obviously you're an attorney and you're a city attorney and you do a very good job of writing it in lawyer speak. So, herefore, therefore, how come, and whatever. All that you change, I didn't realize when this was sitting in front of us, this was a change from what we had in our packet.
Right.
So the only thing that changed in this is what you just mentioned too about the recyclable.
Correct.
April 1st, that's it. Okay.
Correct.
Well, where I was having the question of the lawyer speak was under H. What I take it says, or maybe you can explain to me exactly what it says. Does it say the $200,000 that is by contractual to be paid out over 10 years will, because their purchase price is $450,000, then we're carrying that $200,000, additional $200,000 out over 10 years? Is this saying if we get $450,000 or more, we will only pay that portion more? I'm confused on exactly what that's saying.
What it's saying is that we're always in position to be obligated spending the $450,000. The $200,000 on top of that was what was being placed on a 10-year pay down, no interest, $20,000 per year. Under this provision in letter H, what it's essentially saying is recognizing that we, in applying for this grant, have the option as the city of being able to pay some or all of that $200,000 right up front, which would then, of course, shorten up that payoff window. That's what that is saying.
Okay, it's not locking us in. It was here for come money then. So
Correct.
if we can't pay more if we choose to.
We can, we don't have to.
Okay, all right. Maybe I was the only one that was unclear on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would like to say that because of the grant, if we get the grant for the full 650, yes, we have to pay the full 650.
If it's for the full 650, yes.
Which is what was applied for.
Thank you, yeah.
Council, any other questions? Hearing none, Chair will call the question by a roll call vote. Councilman Hockett,
Aye.
Councilman Sprinkle,
Yeah.
Councilman Burns,
Yes.
Councilman Clay,
Yes.
Councilman Schramm,
Aye.
and Councilman Clint.
Yes.
The ayes have it. This motion will pass unanimously 6-0. Item number,
Mayor, will the
Councilman Schramm.
council at some time get a copy of that grant application?
um,
Or is that not to do?
Available in my office.
You're certainly entitled to stop in and look at it, or
Yeah.
request a copy of it.
the grant application has been submitted to District 3 to present to the appropriate agency. And just for the record, 1.4 million was submitted on the grant application. The breakdown, I don't remember everything on there, but it is available in the finance office for the public or council to review.
Because the revelation of the fact that if we get the grant, we have to pay all 650 right away, that was news to me.
Well, I think that had been explained as far as from the standpoint of the full amount that was applied for that structure would have to be awarded in order for us to
Right.
have to spend that right up front. That was, I believe, explained, and if not, maybe somebody missed that particular description in a meeting or something, but I recall that having been explained. And, you know, as Councilman Clay aptly pointed out, sometimes the lawyer speak gets in the way of full understanding.
Yeah, it would be interesting to look at it sometime.
My understanding was that we don't know the amount of the grant, Brad, if it's 450, if it's 650, if it's 850. My understanding was if we get the full 650, then we're gonna pay this off and be done with it. That was my understanding.
Yeah.
So the grant itself, $1.4 million. $650,000 of that was for the building. There was $375,000 for totes and dumpsters, $117,500 for a trailer, $75,000 for a tractor, and $117,500 for a skid loader. Was there more? That sounds correct. Mini loader. So that's the breakdown of it. Please don't quote me 100% on that because there were several quotes coming in out of my office last week. So I do have the full breakdown. Because we applied for the full 650 for the building, if we receive it, it will have a breakdown on there of how much we receive. We applied to pay the full building price. That was part of our negotiations with the county as well, for them to allow us to hold off until August 1st. So the amount that we receive back from the grant is going to be based off that total purchase price. We could receive a 40-60, 30-70. We don't know. The lowest we were willing to even ask was 40-60. We pay 40%, they pay 60%. And so that was as low as we were willing to go. We weren't offering that we would want to go any higher with our matching on it. They could come back and say, nope, we'll match more, or they'll pay more. But because that was part of your application, you will be required, if we are granted, to pay the full $650.
Moving on. Item number 3. Council, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of 300-gallon containers from sanitation products in the amount of $53,700 through the HGAC purchasing agency.
Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second it.
Councilman Clunt has made a motion to approve the purchase of 100 300-gallon containers from sanitation products in the amount of $53,700 through the HGAC purchasing agency. That motion has been seconded by Councilman Clay. Floor is open to comments or questions.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Sprinkle.
that 53,700, I believe should be 56,400.
He is
There was a freight,
56 what?
56,
should be
400.
56,400.
Catch.
Do you
I'll change
amend?
my motion to that.
Councilman Clay, would you like to second that,
Yeah,
the amendment?
yes.
The motion now reads on the table, the purchase of 100 300-gallon containers from sanitation products in the amount of $56,400 through the HGAC purchasing agency. Floor is still open to
I
questions.
have a
Councilman
question for
Schramm.
Legal. So if we buy these before the bid is confirmed, or the grant is confirmed, where does that put us?
If we pay for them before the grant is confirmed, then those would not be included in what we could be provided by the grant.
Is the company allowing us possession of them and not paying for them?
Then that's still applicable.
I mean, is that what they're agreeing to?
Yes.
They are, okay.
We will know the status of the grant the 1st of June. Hopefully the first week of June, at the latest second week of June. We don't expect to see these until May 20th is what was relayed to Mr. Kruger. So even at that, on May 20th, 30 days later, at a net 30, you're looking at June 20th, which is still within that timeline, and we would know where we're at with the grant. Even if we don't have the grant, you still have the $700,000 from the jail to pay for them.
Mr.
One
Mayor.
final question.
Councilman Clay.
So, you know where I am on committee meetings. We've talked a lot about it. I feel this is something that should have came through committee, our time frame of everything, but this is a big deal. And the reason that I feel that we have a committee structure on board is to come through the committee. I'm not saying operationally, yes, this and that, but we're talking dollars and cents here. And the committee hasn't had a chance to talk about it, look about it, see which route we're going, had no input of the dollars and cents, and we're blindsided on it because of our lack of our committee meetings. Now, I love the structured way we've done it, because when we've sat down, two of the councilmen always was in the committee meetings, and we're up to date on board with where we're at and why we're going that way and how much money we're spending. I'm in the dark right now on the totes, and I think Councilman Schramm probably is. I'm not trying to speak for him. But that's the first time. But anyway, I'm sure, I have all the confidence in Troy. I do. And you and your leadership of the mayor, you've done a great job. But I stress, let's work the process, please, Mr. Mayor.
In response, as we've been working on the purchase of this building, we started going back to the budget that was appropriated. We started working this in steps. In the budget was $375,000 for totes once we start going forward. Troy is tasked operationally with that job once we purchase the building to spend the appropriated funds of $375,000. He did so, and in the combination of everything that he's put together, he actually brought these two quotes, along with the bid that will be coming to the table, in at $62,000 less than what was appropriated. We talked about these last year in the game plan when we went through the budgeting process. I don't think you've been blindsided because you've been part of these meetings and the stages. You've actually, Jeremy, Councilman Clay, have been instrumental in taking this bite-size by bite-size, and for the grant application, we had to move forward. Then once we terminated our current relationship with the contract, in order for us to get these in operationally, by that, we had that termination contract, and it ends on May 31st. For Troy to transition operationally, this game plan, these have a 6 to 8 weeks delivery window to us, and then we had to put them together, we have to put them together, distribute them to the public while taking in the garbage. His window was Friday for both the grant application and also for that timeline. It was appropriated. We talked about totes during the budget process last year, which you were a part of. And once we purchased that building, operationally, he's got to go. He's got to go. And that money's been appropriated. And I probably misspoke, because we don't know where the bid will come in probably. But projecting right now, he's going to save the city $62,000 on something that we've discussed repeatedly over the last year.
Maybe blindsided is a strong statement, and I apologize for that. I knew it was coming, I just didn't know it was coming at this point in time and what direction, what size. We had some side committee meetings about where we're gonna come in at it, what we're doing, but I was surprised to see it in the packet, and I wasn't aware of it.
Councilman Hockett,
Mr. Clay, can I address Mr. Clay for just a moment?
you can address what was said, but
Okay.
not him.
Okay, when we voted 3-2 to approve option 3 Monday night, you voted yes. Part of the option 3 was the city buying the totes and the dumpsters. So your blindside comment kind of threw me too. I didn't understand.
Mr. Hockett, I just apologize for that. I said
Yep.
blindside was strong. I'm
Gentlemen,
aware of that.
Gentlemen,
Yes.
let's not talk across the table. It was just Councilman Schramm.
Mr. Brozick, I would suggest that we had Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday that the committee could have met, could have agreed to what Public Works Director had found out, and then we wouldn't be having this conversation today. This city is run by 6 city council people, a majority of which it takes to purchase anything or budget anything. So we need to get back to that, because we've gotten away from it the last few months. We're coming to meetings or stuff on the agenda that the committee, quite frankly, hasn't even discussed. And I know in my case, I asked some pretty stupid questions that I'm not sure I want to ask in front of the public. So I would ask you again to re-implement the twice monthly committee meetings so that we know what's going on before it comes to a city council meeting. And I would say that we had plenty of opportunity with a phone call, which is all it takes for a committee meeting to get together. Because my next question is, did we only get one bid? But you may have answered that. I only see one bid in my packet, but you said you had 2. So I have no idea, because the committee, as a committee, did not meet. And that, I have a problem with that.
So to address your comments, first of all, when councilmen are elected, they're elected to set public policy and set a budget and have oversight. In this particular case, we set a budget for $375,000 for totes. This is actually an amount that's over the $4,000 mark. But in this case, we're using a qualified purchasing agency of the state of South Dakota on a previous bid. We don't have to go out on bid because it's been done already.
And it would be nice if we'd have known that coming into this meeting. I wouldn't have to ask the question. Because I will ask you before you finish.
So
Why did we vote to give Jamie Keiser $3,000 today when not very long ago, we agreed that we were going to give Summer Rec $3,000? So why do we have to vote on it today? Your justification for doing it this way now is not
You appropriate those funds for that
And
$3,000
we then approve the release of them.
because you have control. Is that the finance officer's control to release that $3,000? It could be operationally, but on the donation request, we've just went back to council and having them come request the funds.
Which is the same thing you should do with everything we purchase.
Absolutely not. It's not constitutional. It holds up. It's not the way it works on the federal level. It's not the way it works on the state
Our
level.
federal government is $32 million in debt. Don't compare us to the federal government.
I'm going to, because it is the same. We set a budget and we keep our budgets, though. And in this case, he's actually under budget by about 18%.
I am extremely glad to hear it.
Okay.
Okay.
But your opening comment is council runs or operates the city. They do not. They're elected to set public policy, set a budget, and have oversight over it. You can understand that these guys, when they're appointed, have a job to do. We'll do a comparison to the state level. The South Dakota Department of Transportation, the South Dakota National Guard, they are appropriated money by the State House and Senate. Once those funds are appropriated, there's not a general that's going to allow any representative to come in and ask them to okay every expenditure once it's appropriated. On all three levels, it is the exact same. These guys have been appointed, we've hired people to do jobs. Once the funding is there, it's their job to do it in the best interest of the city of Winter. And again, in this case, he used a purchasing agency that didn't require a bid process that we have to go through. He's done his job, $375,000. He's projecting to come in at $62,000 under. He has done his job for the residents. And he is using every possible legal avenue that he is bestowed upon an officer, an operating officer, appointed officer of the city of Winter. Councilman Clint.
I just had one question. Are they gonna have the City of Winter stamp on them or something? I just want to know if they were gonna be labeled.
Any other questions, comments? You have an opportunity. Hearing none, Chair will call the question by a roll call vote. Councilman Sprinkle?
Yes.
Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Clay?
Yes.
Councilman Schramm?
Aye.
Councilman Clint?
Yes.
Councilman Hockett?
Aye.
The majority has it. This motion passes unanimously, 5-6-0, excuse me. Item number 4. Council, is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I think we forgot to vote on number 2.
No?
I got it checked off.
We did? Okay.
Yeah, we
All
did,
right.
sir.
I'm-
That's all right. Council, item number 4, is there a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to purchase 1,295-gallon containers and 365-gallon containers from Schaefer Plastics North America in the amount of $105,066 through the HGAC Purchasing Agency.
Is there a second to this motion?
I would second that.
Oh, go ahead, Brad. I'll defer to Brad.
Councilman Clay has made a motion to purchase 1,295-gallon and 365-gallon totes from Schaefer Plastics North America in the amount of $105,066 through the HGAC Purchasing Agency. With that, the floor is open to comments or questions.
Ask questions. And I'm sorry, I missed this on the first time. I got tied up on the blindsided comment, but 300 gallon, I'm sorry, I'm sliding back a row.
Please do,
corner.
please do.
300 gallon, are those, the round plastic ones, are we doing those instead of the metal dumpsters? I know there'd been conversation about it, but I didn't know a decision had been made on it, and I apologize about that. I want to talk about that.
I would allow that latitude.
We talked to the new contractor, and They use those quite a bit over the peer period, and it would be a nice alternative to not having a full 2-yard dumpster, but yet having enough space to, so it's a little bit more, it's gonna be about twice as much as one of the 95 galloners. So we have quite a few applications where that would come in handy in the city winter, but he's also able to pick those up and do it with his arm truck. So it should speed up his ability to pick up the garbage.
This is in addition to, we're still gonna have steel, like at my office, I'm still gonna have steel dumpsters there.
There will be, yeah, there two 4 to 6 yard steel dumpsters will
Okay.
still be around town. But we did cut back on the number of commercial steel dumpsters in the cases where we had a lot of commercial accounts that didn't need a full 2-yard dumpster. We actually have a lot of commercial accounts that have a 95-yard tote. And so we're gonna use these 300-gallon containers in the place of those. So it's just another option. Also with the 65-galloners, that's an option for the public, so if they don't want a full 95-gallon tote, they can have a smaller tote, it can fit in the garage, so a little easier to roll around and handle.
Is the cost to the customer the same if they have a 60? Through the number?
65 versus 95?
95 and 65s would be the same.
Same cost.
Yeah, your base cost for garbage is $19.50, that won't change.
For residential?
Our residential is $24.50.
Residential probably won't have the option of a 95 gallon, just commercial.
That's where the option is between 95 and 65 is for the residents.
Oh, I thought he
And
said.
that'll be at $24.50.
Mr. Schramm,
Yes,
the $24.50 is not the total cost for the consumer on the garbage service. $5 of that is the landfill charge, that the administrative fee and whatnot goes towards operation of the landfill. The actual cost, which was remaining the same, going into the new contractor, remains at $19.50 for the actual price
It's
for the.
$19.50 with a landfill, $5 landfill fee.
I
Added
think on
to
my
it.
bill, it shows $24.50, does it not?
That is accurate.
Yeah.
You are correct.
My utility bill says garbage, or whatever the word is, $24.50.
I got mine today, and mine says 1950, and then another line under that.
Yeah,
it
they're
says-
separated.
It's separated out, it says $5, so it's
It
very
changed with the
clear
new
on
system
mine.
then?
It's been that way for a year.
Both of them are marked sanitation.
Yep.
Yeah, there's two
I don't look at
sanitations, a 5 and a 1950.
Technically, you have 3
It's clearly marked.
sanitation because of your
There's
tax
3 of
as
them on
well.
there?
Yeah, because your tax goes on as well.
I just throw them away, don't pay 'em.
Yep.
Is this, do I need to go through, is this 10566, is that a correct number?
That's-
We good on that?
Yeah.
It is.
I look for
Ronnie?
shipping.
Hey.
There was no freight on that one.
Okay, all right.
Any other comments or questions, council? Hearing none, chair will call a roll call vote. Councilman Burns?
Yes.
Councilman Clay?
Yes.
Councilman Schramm?
Aye.
Councilman Clunt?
Yes.
Councilman Hockett?
Aye.
And Councilman Sprinkle?
Yeah.
The ayes have it. This motion will pass with a majority 6-0 vote. Item number 5, council, is the claims for the city of Winter. Is there a motion? Please, in your motion,
Pay the claims.
would you please include the $3,000 donation in your motion?
Yes, and the adjustment, or yeah, $3,000 for the summer rec program.
Is there a second to this motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'll second.
Councilman Clunt has made a motion to pay the claims for the city of Winter, including the $3,000 donation to Winter Summer Rec. That motion has been seconded by Councilman Burns. Floor is open to comment or questions. And
You
I
guys
think
were really close, but I do need you to add a couple things for me, please. Number 1, we need to add the first $3,000 payment to Tripp County, because that's due at the beginning of every month, and here we are, beginning of the month. And the second one is I need permission to reimburse the sanitation cash drawer for $36.80. That is how much aluminum the city purchased from customers on Saturday. So we need to reimburse that cash drawer. So a total of $6,036.80 need to be added to the claims, please.
Councilman Clint, would you amend your motion?
Yes.
And Councilman Burns, would you?
I shall.
You shall. Floor is open to comments or
Thank you.
questions.
Now that we got a first and second on the claims, and now that that's been added to claims, I need to once again slide back 3 more cornrows for the lawyer speak got me sidetracked. I had a question for you that I didn't remember to ask. The $3,000 per month lease to the county, all in, all done? I think I've asked this before in committee. That's covering,
It covers any expense that they have.
yeah, because I spoke with a commissioner that felt that if the expenses exceeded 3,000, we were gonna pay above and beyond 3,000.
No, and in fact, there was some particular discussion right on that very topic, the fact that we anticipate their expenses more in the first month, because for a period of time, they are continuing to employ the employee who will then be applying to come to work for us the second month, probably, assuming he gets hired, et cetera. So their expenses will be lower on the second and third month of this, and yet it's still across the board at $3,000. So it was just intended as a stipend to take the expenses out of them paying them or incurring them themselves and covering that plus more so they get their expenses covered.
As long as everybody's on board and understands exactly where everything's at, not a problem.
And I apologize if I didn't make that very clear.
Any other comments or questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilman Burns?
since during discussion, we can apparently talk about anything we'd like to,
It was under the.
You'll have the floor.
I would like to
That was a
have,
$3,000 payment that was added to the claims he wanted to discuss. But I'll allow you some latitude.
I would like the mayor to remind the public that April 17th is cleanup day in the city.
Oh, it's a communication. Yeah, I think you just did, sir.
Thank you.
Dan has got it marked down, and it looks like he's all over. Cleanup Day, April 17th in the city of Winter, has nothing to do with the claims. We're not cleaning that out. No other comments or questions? Chair will call the question. All those in favor of paying the claims for the city of Winter with an additional $6,036.87 added to the claims? 80 cents. 80 cents added to the claims. Would you please say aye?
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it, and that motion passes unanimously 6-0. Item number 6, council, we've moved from the consent agenda. I need a motion and a second before discussion. This motion is to approve the previous meeting minutes for March 20th and 27th. Councilman Clay, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to correct the minutes.
Very good.
From March 20th and 27th.
Very good. Thank you. Is there a second to that motion? Second. Councilman Clay has made a motion to correct the minutes from March 20th and March 27th. That motion has been seconded by Councilman Hockett. The floor is open to comments or questions. I believe Councilman Schramm, do you want the floor?
Okay. On the minutes of March 27 only, it was recorded that I voted yes for option 3, when in fact I voted no.
And the roll call was stated incorrectly, too.
The roll call was altogether incorrectly. It showed that both Burns and Schramm voted aye. That is a mistake on my part, and I will correct that in the minutes, that they both voted nay, and it passed 3-2.
That's all I saw. Was there anything else?
Aye?
That's all I asked.
So the correction that will be made for the public that has been requested by Councilman Clay is to correct the minutes from the March 27th meeting to reflect in a roll call vote, Councilman Burns and Schramm voted no, as the record showed they had voted yes.
I do believe it was correct in the paper.
Yeah, it's just the official minutes I
Yeah,
have to have
yeah,
tracked.
Dan had, yeah.
That way when the person who replaces
So when
me,
you record your minutes, you need to check with Dan.
I will gladly let you do my minutes, Dan.
Because there is times when you go back and you consult the minutes to find out how a vote was
Absolutely.
made and what was done.
Absolutely, I
Yep.
In the
do.
past.
I think it needs
and
to be correct.
correct.
Yep.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
If there are no further comments or questions, Chair will call the question. All those in favor of correcting the March 27th meeting minutes to reflect a roll call vote of 3-2 with Councilman Schramm and Burns voting nay, would you please say aye?
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it, and this motion will pass unanimously 6-0. Item number 7, council, which
Mr.
was
Mayor, I
added.
think that only
We-
corrected the
I
minutes.
think we have to approve both minutes now.
You have to
I
approve
make
them now
that
that they're
motion.
corrected.
Okay. Is there a motion then on the March 20th? That they are in fact approved?
March 20th and March 27th minutes be approved as printed.
Is there a second to that motion?
That's correct, is that?
As
That's
corrected.
corrected, yeah.
Second.
Councilman Schramm has made a motion to approve the March 20th and 27th minutes as corrected. That motion has been seconded by Councilman Hockett. All those in favor of approving these minutes, would you please say aye?
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. Final item tonight, item number 7. Council, is there a motion on item number 7, which was added from the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the resignation of Ashley Bowling from City Hall.
Is there a second to this motion?
I'll second that.
Councilman Clunt has made a motion to approve the resignation of Ashley Bowling from City Hall. That motion has been seconded by Councilman Burns. Floor is open to comments or questions. Hearing none, Chair will call the question. All those in favor of approving the resignation of Ashley Bowling at City Hall, would you please say aye?
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it, and this motion will pass unanimously 6-0. That concludes new business. There are no executive sessions for this evening. Council, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Is there a second to Councilman Sprinkle's motion to adjourn?
Second.
Councilman Hockett has seconded that motion.
Good idea.
All those in favor of adjourning, would you please say aye?
Aye.
All opposed, please say nay. The ayes have it, that motion passes unanimously 6-0. We are adjourned 7:23.